Audio. All right, we're back. I'm gonna freeball this one a little bit on the topic and not have a script. The topic today is function over fashion. And why don't I need to freeball this one? Well, I'll give you a couple reasons. First one, I'm basically the epitome of function over faction. Fashion. Function over fashion. By the shoes I wear, the clothes I wear, the car I drive, and the aesthetics I don't have. I might look, sometimes, even jokingly, homeless, which is also another joke because I'm a digital nomad to some degree. I would much rather focus on the function of anything over the aesthetics. And that could be a workout, that can be how you dress, that can be the car you drive, all of those things. Even having the aesthetic of a script where it has a very structured flow, freeballing is freeballing. It is letting the words come to me as they would. So maybe that's a good reason why. The other reason why is I want to get this podcast recorded so I can get out to some clients and get on with my day. And I figured, you know what? At least a half-assed podcast is better than no podcast. So I'm going to start off with my shoes. I've been wearing barefoot shoes for 8 years. I had Vivos for a very long time. I love them. They're a little ugly and people would make fun of me for it. And I would wear them into the ground where the mesh is basically broken apart. Once they're no longer functional, then I toss them. They're not even fashionable to begin with, yet I wore them to the point where they don't even look good anymore. And so a lot of people make fun of me for that. Then I transitioned into a barefoot shoe. It's called Barefoot. They're even uglier. And that's also what I think is hilarious, is that I got to the point where I'm wearing an even uglier barefoot shoe, as if barefoot shoes can get even uglier. And the one of them, it already kind of got dirty pretty quick, but I hadn't trimmed my toenails, and I'm also, again, function over fashion. I wasn't wearing socks, obviously, and so the foot slid, and then the toenail cut the mesh, and so I was like, oh, fuck. Like that, it was pretty sharp. And now I was playing basketball, so that's why I slid a little bit. But again, they're still functional, and so I do wear socks now. Why? Not for the fashion, for the function, because my shoes stink a little bit. So I got to try to make sure my feet don't stink as much. So that's really what the socks are for. Anyway, so I'm very big on function in that regards. And yeah, I get made fun of a decent amount, but I'd much rather that than Nikes that aren't actually that functional. Running shoes cause dysfunction in your foot. And being in a more barefoot shoe promotes more of a functionality. Now, there's a gradient, there's a spectrum, you have to know how to use your foot. I won't get into that too much, but I've never had stronger feet, better feet. I've had a knee surgery, I've had a hip surgery, and my joints feel better being in a barefoot shoe, letting my muscles do most of the supporting from ground up with my feet than just looking good. Which, let's be real, it's not like running shoes look good anyway. Yes, at a wedding, I'm gonna put on proper shoes, but 99.99% of the time, I'm going to wear my barefoot shoes. So that's why I also justify not spending hundreds of dollars on wedding shoes that I go to the wedding event once or twice a year. If that, it was like twice last year, once the year before, and that was basically it. Or maybe twice the last 2 years, and then nothing this year. So yeah, sue me. Sue me. What's the other thing? And this is not fitness adjacent, I just think it's funny. My car is kind of getting beat up. I told my mom, oh yeah, I would drive my car until it's a beater. She's like, it's already a beater. So she's not wrong. The front bumper just has a lot of little tiny scrapes on it. The mirror got knocked off from an intercom. Certain drive-throughs have beaten up the front part of the car, and you just hear, and it's like, oh fuck. And the main one was just one little tiny fender bender in a parking lot, and that's where the bumper took most of its damage. And yeah, but guess what? The car still drives perfectly fine, and it's still great on gas, so who cares, right? Again, that's an aesthetic cosmetic. Even the inside part of the car, You can make an argument for functionality of keeping it clear and clean. Totally understand. Again, 99.99% of the time, I'm basically living out of my car. Again, being nomadic, I have to drive to people's place. I sometimes eat in the car. I sometimes even do work in the car. I have to bring equipment back and forth between spots. So it's a beater car. It is what it is. And the odd time, for example, when my friend and I went driving somewhere, I'm going to clean out at least the front seat. Then if more friends come, then I'm going to clean out the back seat as well. And so it's fine. It's fine. The trunk's full of shit. It's function over fashion. The shirt I was wearing today at the gym was a shirt I bought when I was doing track and field. I would have been 16 or 17, and I'm 31 right now, just for reference. I've had that shirt a long time. It's got a hole in the armpit, and it's got little tiny rips around it. It works. You don't even notice the armpit hole unless I'm like overhead. So it's like I'm aware of it. But guess what? It's a gym shirt. It does its job. It covers my nipples basically is what the main job is and or my stomach. And yeah, like I don't see the point in trying to always look my best at the gym. So those are some things of function over aesthetics. When it comes to the gym, which is obviously the main part of it, I think a lot of people are concerned about how they look, not necessarily just with aesthetics, but also if they are worried about looking like they're doing something stupid. And so I think it's really important for people to not give a flying fuck about what other people think about them. Obviously, that's easier said than done, but a gym is a great spot to practice that. You're barely going to see anybody outside of the gym again. It's a public setting, but they don't know who you are most likely outside of the gym. Depends on the gym. And so you can go into it looking like a more rough version of yourself. I was trying to find the right words. Rough. If you're in a community gym, yeah, you see them more regular. You know them by name. Maybe you want to look half decent, but also they're seeing you at your worst. When you're sweaty, you're tired, you're huffing for air. And so it does give you a little bit of a vulnerability. And if you get comfortable being vulnerable like that, I think then that's great. A lot of people, I'm going to pick on the women here, want to look cute at the gym. Like a cute fit. And there was a time where the gym having a cute fit was secondary and it wasn't all over social media, versus now you can be a fitness influencer, make a living literally just modeling fitness clothes. And so when fashion came into the fitness space, which is fine, a lot of people really got into it. A lot of people wear athletic leisure wear clothes and they don't actually work out. It's comfortable, it looks decent, cool, totally get it, all for that. And comfortability is a part of functionality. However, what are you better off spending your money on is not necessarily going to be cute shoes or a cute outfit. It's going to be spending the time, money, energy, and effort into doing things at the gym more optimal. And looking stupid in the gym, even though you look cute, I would beg to differ, is going to have a very different effect versus looking strong, yet you look a little rough around the edges. I'm going to be more impressed with someone's squat depth than somebody who has a matching top. This is also from the perspective of a guy who is not aesthetic by any means. So I know that might get some maybe hate in the comments. I'd love to hear the discussion here. The argument is I've seen people put on makeup before they go to the gym. Why? Well, it's like 6 a.m. and they're showing up in makeup. What? I get it if you're coming from work. Totally get that. You're probably gonna have to redo your makeup after the sweaty gym session anyway. And these are like the F45 classes. I get it. You want to look good for the cute looking coaches. Not me, the other ones. But it's just, I don't know. It's a weird thing to me. And it's really hard for me to wrap my brain around it. So again, in the comments, please let me know what your thoughts are of people wearing makeup at the gym. I just think you can be putting your better time and effort and energy into other things. I think simplicity in a gym outfit that's comfortable and functional is going to outperform cutesy. Now, most of the time, the cute stuff is still probably functional. It's just a lot more expensive. And I mean, some people have shopping addictions. I get that. And they have hundreds of gym outfits. Okay. What if you put some of that towards, again, good results, good food, good training, good programming? Do you not think that like a strong glute, legs, chest, arms, like sculpted and toned, that's also aesthetics, but you're at least, it's functional. Muscle is functional. And that kind of brings me into the next point of like bodybuilding versus functional training. I don't think bodybuilding's unfunctional. It's actually, for 95% of the population, probably pretty functional. If they're doing it with good form and technique, you're going to have tremendous health benefits. The only thing it might hinder would be sports. I think in day-to-day life, we overrate the functionality of things. I really do think it's comes down to specific sports. Yeah, I would say that 95% of the population. Why? Just adding muscle is going to be functional for most people. Adding strength is going to be functional for most people, and you don't need to worry about sculpting or toning your legs or your arms or your core. 90% of the results are going to come from basic movements anyway, and you can really only grow your ass so much so quick without growing any other part of your leg, and doing heavy squats is going to be functional. And yeah, your upper back's going to develop a little bit. So that's when, people, I wish I could get this bigger and this smaller. I just have a hard time with that mindset. That's just me. That's just me. I would love it if my arms were a little bit bigger. I would love it if I could get a little bit leaner, maybe. I would love it if I was more strong. And the strength is what's functional. And ironically, getting stronger can actually get me leaner. Getting stronger could get my arms bigger. So why not just focus on the strength side of things? So I do think that there's just this whole argument of function over fashion, and it's a spectrum. And who's to say you can't have both? Who's to say you can't? But if you had to pick one, you should probably lean towards function in most things in life. A lot of people want to have a nice home, a nice car, and look nice and whatnot, but I think function's more important. A basic looking house, still a roof over your head. And I think we forget about that. A basic car still gets you from point A to point B. Function is going to be what's important, and I'd rather spend the time, money, effort, and resources into what's going to be functional for me and improve my quality of life. I will finish with this. Who am I to say what would or would not improve somebody's quality of life if they do value fashion over function? Because maybe that's just so much joy for them. I just want people to rethink it and maybe play with the spectrum of allocating more to function. You don't have to be like me and go straight to function 95% of the time. But I do think that it gets underrated, function. Unfortunately, in marketing, it's what draws attention and not necessarily always what's going to work. Even I'll use this point. F45 has functional in the name. I'd argue it's not crazy functional. And you're going to get better results with more basic traditional stuff, but it's sexy and it's got branding and they have colors like blue, red, and white. And so you get to take signs with the photos. Obviously, there's a side of community to it, which is functional. That's probably the most functional thing about a thing like that. Orange Theory promotes similar movements, functional strength. It's overrated you're going to be in this heart rate zone for this amount, burning X amount of calories. That's so overblown and overrated, but it is functional to go to the gym and to do stuff. And if that's what gets you into the gym, so be it. CrossFit's probably the epitome of this. Although I will give it to CrossFit, a lot of their athletes and people, it's more grungy, more rough look, and I can at least appreciate that. And I will say this, sometimes the reps look ugly. Is it functional though? That's the next part of that. And then, bodybuilding is literally based around being fashionable. Again, I already said my 2 cents about it. It's actually still moderately functional as well. Powerlifting is all about function and not about aesthetics. So that's a good example there where the goal is, are you strong? Did you move the bar? That's it. They don't even care how it looks as long as you follow the basic requirements of how it's supposed to move. Like, did you hit past depth? Did you lock out? Other than that, it becomes one of the most functional things. And yeah, powerlifters they could give 2 fucks how they look. They're making intense faces while they're lifting. So kudos to that. Kudos to strength. Same thing with strongman. But yeah, I want your thoughts of function over fashion. The dichotomy of fitness is what I'm looking at, but just in real world. And it can be a spectrum. It's like, yeah, I want to look nice when I go out for dinner. Cool, awesome. How often do you go out for dinner? Oh, you go out once a month. All right, so 12 times a year. Cool. You could probably have 3 different outfits and mix and match throughout the seasons, right? And that's just my point. Winter gear is a good example of that too. Do you want something that keeps you warm or looks cute on you when you're freezing your ass off? Just wanted to get this podcast in. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And make sure you check out some of the other episodes. I know I've been all over the map a little bit, but I'm trying my best to stay as consistent as possible. If there's any topics you'd love for me to talk about, any questions, comments, concerns, please give this a like, comment, share. I haven't asked that for a little bit, and share it with somebody. Doesn't have to be this one, but if this is the first episode you listened to, cool, awesome. If not, go back to one of your more favorite ones and just share it with someone. Hey, listen, this is a good podcast. And even telling me which ones you really, really like helps me know what style and format and topics I might need to continue with. So yeah, I just write my ideas down, and this was one I've had once or twice, and I kind of needed to vent a little bit. I just thought it was funny because I was very unfunctional. Actually, I'll show you another example. This is I'm one of those guys that now duct tapes everything. So these are my keys, and instead of getting a new key, which is expensive, I just duct taped it. So if you can't see on video, that's all I did there. Duct taped, and now it's fine. The case was just breaking. So see, function, fashionable. Who gives a fuck? So, all right. Until next time.